Hi guys, it's Megan with Megan Ashley Creative and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about everything to do with wedding flowers, and I'm here with my friend Lexi who owns Twiggage Bloom, and we are going to make some bouquets today and talk about everything to do with florals and flowers and all things nature on your wedding day. We're also going to be putting together some bouquets, and Lexi's going to do one, I'm going to do one, and I have no idea what I'm doing and she's an expert. So we'll see what they look like at the end, but good luck to me. Okay, so your company's Twiggage Bloom.
Yep.
And what kind of made you choose that name? Is that something that has some sort of
Well,
meaning
I started
behind
with the name Foliage and Bloom, and that just didn't quite roll off the tongue. And then the word Twiggage came up, and I had to look it up in the dictionary. It isn't a real word. So spell check doesn't like it.
Oh shoot!
But it sounds like it should be. And,
Yeah.
So that's how it started.
Nice.
Also because of the fact that I love not just flowers, but I love everything else that goes along with it, including fun and funky.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I love the name. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool. So, you started your business. What made you want to become a florist?
So my business as a florist is a little bit different. It's a home-based floral design studio and what we call a micro flower farm, which means we're just under an acre here, and not all of it is farm because there's obviously a house.
Yeah, we're in it.
So the concept of the business plan is it's sustainable, so everything that I use I grow here, and if I can't grow it here then I choose to get it from local farmers.
Okay.
And so far we've been able to prove that we can get flowers and beauty year round, but sticking to the seasons.
What's cool about that is because you're growing flowers on your property, you kind of control what you're going to grow. So if a client said, hey, I really want these type of florals, you can be like, I can just grow that for you if you had enough time in advance. So that's really cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Nice.
The timeline is quite long. As soon as the tulip, so right now we're in March, tulip season starting. When the tulip season ends, I already have to order for next year.
Yeah.
So it's a full year lead. And yes, I spend a lot of time researching, because these are not the kind of flowers that you can get from the like the hardware store,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, or a garden center. That
Yeah.
kind of thing. It's actually from online catalogs from not just across Canada but across the States as well.
Okay.
That I've ordered in. And actually it was really interesting because the one from the States, they on their packet show where the seeds come from, and they're from all around the world.
Nice.
But in order to get those unique colors and varieties, you have to go that far.
Yeah. Interesting. That's so cool. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you're passionate about growing,
Yep.
and you're passionate about sustainability. So sustainability in the wedding industry is always kind of hard to stick to. So what I really liked about your business was that that's a big focus, and the florals come from local, right off your land, and you've grown these flowers yourself. And if you as you're saying, if you can't grow something yourself, you source it out from other local vendors as well.
What's really interesting about how we designed this whole business plan was that I actually was interested in the end point, which was what do you do at the end of the night? Right?
Yeah.
And I found out that in a typical wedding, it all gets thrown in a garbage bag.
Yeah.
In the trash. And I was like, oh my gosh.
You're like, no.
Has anyone heard of composting? And then I realized, oh my gosh, but if it's imported from another country that has different cultural laws in terms of how you care for your plants, it might be loaded with pesticides and herbicides.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to put that
And
in
then
your
anything
compost.
that's imported into the States and Canada has to be fumigated as well.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's you don't want that in your compost at all.
No, you can't. Well,
Yeah.
you should. You just don't. It doesn't have an ingredient list. Like
Yeah. It's not like a bottle of wine. You can read everything that's in it.
So it's with the couples that book with us are happy to know that at the end of the day, if they don't have any other end use for their flowers, they'll know it goes right back into their yard.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to put some bouquets together.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit nervous. So you have a little process to putting bouquets together. So she's gonna sort of teach me a little bit about what that is.
This was actually food is a great comparison to flower arranging. So the example that I like to use is here we got 3 different colors of tulips, and they are beautiful just like this, and you could just enjoy them like this at home. This is what I would compare to a piece of toast with butter on it. It's reliable, predictable, comforting, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Right? And there's actually nothing wrong with just enjoying this. But in terms of going the next step, or getting more interesting, that same piece of bread you could put all kinds of interesting
Like
things on top.
avocados.
Yeah.
Everybody loves avocado toast, and we'll pay a lot of money for it.
So and just like cooking,
Yeah.
you can put in too much salt and it just ruins it, right?
Totally.
As an example. So we actually do use recipes, and I have learned that there is actually some nice sweet ratios of foliage and different textures, and obviously working with color palettes that are pleasing together, so that you can it's not reinventing the wheel every time.
Yeah.
There's
You kind of have a process. Yeah.
Yeah, a recipe.
Okay.
So what we'll do, okay, and then just to make it fun and interesting for my wedding clientele, I made up a little story about what each ingredient represents.
Okay.
Right? So you've got your wedding party.
Yeah.
So we've got our bride, and you can choose which one of these pretty. These are double tulips, and they're multicolored too.
Ooh.
Which one's the flashiest one for you?
Oh, I'm totally gonna pick this wild and crazy
So
one.
just lay it
'Cause
on the table.
I'm wild and crazy. So.
So whenever we're working with flowers, we always make sure that anything that's going to be below the water line or is looking pretty wimpy, we're going to peel it off.
So this part here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that would be our bride. And
You
then,
guys can't see this, but there's a bucket here for compost, because that's where it's all going after this.
And for the record, I didn't grow these myself, but they are from local growers in the valley.
Cool.
So bridesmaids, I have 2 colors.
We only get 2. Sorry, girls.
But we're going to be greedy and let's go with 3 bridesmaids.
Okay. I gotta pick that. I recently did an Instagram post on this, and you need the wild and crazy one that's gonna have a good time. You need a good solid organizer.
Yeah. Make sure you stay hydrated.
Right. And then you need just somebody who's gonna keep, I guess your wild and crazy one would keep the party going, but this one's gonna help you get your dress out of the way when you go to the bathroom or something like that. Okay.
So then we're gonna pick out the groom and the groomsmen.
Oh. I feel like I'm on Tinder for flowers right now.
So again, we have 2 colors to choose from. These are hellebores. These are one of the coolest flowers because they bloom throughout the winter months.
They're really pretty.
Yeah. And if you're going to try and harvest these at home, the little hack that you need to know is that you have to sear sear the bark.
Groomsman down! This is the drunk one.
I use my gas stove, but you could use a lighter or whatever.
Oh, okay.
For 10 seconds. And that, strangely enough, it helps it absorb and hold the water. Otherwise, these guys can wilt. Choose up to 3 stems.
Okay.
Because they're pretty full. And then here's another florist tip. If you have something like that, it's going to break off.
Just take it off.
And you could use it for a boutonniere.
Oh, yeah.
Or a little bud vase in the ladies' room.
That one's not happy. That's the hungover one. Okay, so we got our bridal party.
Yeah, and then we also need some flower girls. Flower girl and a ring bearer. While we're here, we're just going to strip down because we know that the height.
That happens at weddings sometimes.
Strip down.
If you've never been to a wedding before, there's always nudity. It's just part of the gag. I don't know.
And then you need some guests.
Yay!
And they're sometimes a bit unruly and not always behaving.
They totally are.
So I would say 3 to 5. Right. So, and then the last thing is the officiant. There's always someone that has to represent the higher power.
They're the ones that keep everyone in line.
Yeah.
I kind of like this guy right here.
Willow.
Yeah, I like this. This is cool. It's funky. My pile, my little flower hoard here.
So if you were in a hurry to get married, you could just go and do this. But
no, yeah, it's not as beautiful. You want it, yeah.
Yeah. But basically, you just want to be able to trim so that
they're a lower height. Okay. A lot of wedding couples, when they're planning their wedding, obviously they're putting a budget together. Sometimes florals get in question about their value on wedding day. Obviously there's a purpose to florals. They create a beautiful environment, but I'm sure there's some other traditions that go along with wedding florals that aren't just...
So I was curious about this too. So we did a bit of research and found out that historically there were quite different reasons. Sometimes it was superstition, so to ward off evil spirits, or the brides were considered to be extra lucky at wedding time, so people would want to have a piece of the action. The other common idea was that it was to mask smelly smells.
If your guests are stinky.
Yeah, everyone's sneaky. So. And then more recently in the Victorian times, it was that different blooms represented different sentiments. So I cannot think of any else. Probably something like rosemary is remembering, or I don't know.
Yeah.
And so you would arrange your bouquet, and it would actually spell a whole paragraph of your sentiments, your feelings.
Interesting.
Yeah. My personal opinion is it brings nature to the ceremony.
Yeah.
Wherever, even if you are outdoors, gives you something to hold on to. It gives you good posture. And it grounds you, and it makes you feel fantastic at the same time. So I highly encourage brides to invest in the most amazing bunch of flowers. And yeah, I get it. Wedding flowers are probably the biggest floral expense you'll ever make.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming, but we intend to make it simple and straightforward. Our methodology is to give you some options of color palettes and moods or themes, and then we work with what's in season on your special day. So
nice.
We focus on weddings in the summer months, but we can offer them flowers year round. And it's so cool because the flowers are just going nuts over the summer, and every week we can harvest, and we only focus on one couple per week.
Mm-hmm.
So all week long, from the start of the harvesting and the conditioning and the prepping and the arranging and the getting it to the consumer, or if it's a full service wedding, getting to the event and creating that fantastic arbor or installation, it's all about them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And like what we were saying in the beginning, like sometimes if a bride would like bride or groom would like a specific type of flower, maybe you don't already grow that, if they book you in enough advance, that you could actually plant those florals for them.
Yep.
And they actually have like their own crop of florals. That makes it really special too. It's kind of cool. It's very unique just to them, which is neat.
Right.
I like that a lot. So when couples are trying to find a florist, obviously florals are very visual. If you're looking on social media or through people's websites or just searching florists, people are gonna want to book based on what they see, obviously good arrangements. But what are some other things that couples should maybe be looking for?
It can't hurt to ask. And vice versa, if you see a florist whose style that you like, then by all means contact them, because you know that they can make that same thing for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our design style is called, it's fun.
My design style right now is called I don't know what I'm doing.
So it's called a fusion. It's called Elegant European Charm fused with a whimsical West Coast vibe. So I really want my arrangements to look like I did go out there and I just picked together and threw it together.
For me as a photographer, florals add such another element to imagery. Like, you know, you two are beautiful and we're going to photograph your love, but having that other like soft element in your image of florals, whether it's a boutonniere or a floral crown or a bouquet, it just adds so much more life to your images and the color and emotion even, I feel like. I love a photo with a beautiful bouquet to it.
You need to figure out how to get the scent in that picture.
That's true, if only. What is the process? Look, so I just want to pause for a second. This is what Lexi's done so far. I don't know if you can see this, but I haven't even put anything together yet. Mine just looks like a hot mess. Mine looks like the remnants of yours as you're putting it together. This is why you hire a professional and don't ask your photographer to do your flowers for you.
Oh, there's one thing that I'm missing today is I have a mirror, and then I can see how it
Oh,
looks.
that's a good idea.
And the other weird thing is it will, in a lot of pictures you'll see they look really beautiful and rounded arrangements, but they're actually kind of lopsided when you create them so that you...
They're up against your body. I never really thought of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to attempt to put this together. So, as we're prepping, I really want to talk about what goes into prepping for a wedding. Yeah, I'm just like, oh, Lexi's out in her garden the morning of wedding day, just, Sound of music playing in the background and running around picking flowers for you. Not what
Wearing my
happens,
billowy sundress.
yeah, exactly.
Barefoot.
So, what's your process? So, client books you, they book their date. How long in advance?
Yeah, a year out we can start our planning, and then up to a month before the event we can do final changes. And then our process is usually on a weekly cycle, so beginning of the week we'll be already out harvesting the hardier stuff like this, what I call twiggage, the foliage.
Yeah.
So there's this thing called conditioning, which is variety specific. So depending on the plant, it needs to be treated a certain way. So the example I gave earlier was that the hellebores need to be seared,
right.
Otherwise they'll flop. Basically when a flower gets kind of just like a fruit being harvested, it starts ripening really fast, and that to us looks like it's dying, right?
Yeah.
So flopping. So you need to put it, most of them you need to put in a cool, dark environment, which is a specific cooler, like most people have walk-in coolers, and they need that treatment for usually overnight.
Okay.
If you don't do that, then you're going to get flowers that crap out.
Yeah.
Tip to your brides, your flowers are like you should stay hydrated. Chances are it's going to be a hot day or it's a lot going on, and so if you're not carrying your flowers, they should be in the vase that's provided. They're not meant to be out of water for 6 hours, and you are not meant to spend the day not drinking for 6 hours. So that's the first step, and then about 3 days out we start doing our arrangements. We leave the more delicate stuff towards the end, and things like the flower crowns and so on that are really finicky and need special care and treatment because they are out of water, right?
Yeah.
But we have our little trade secrets of how to keep that fresh for the day of. And then early morning of your special day, we start doing our final touches and the packing. And trust me, the packing is very specific because, of course, we don't want a disaster in the car.
Yeah.
If it's a la carte, we have packed them in a way that your pickup person will be able to transport them in their air-conditioned car. It's the full-service package that we're offering you. Then we do the installation and, of course, the strike or the teardown. And eventually it gets back to our compost pile.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are a lot more steps than just, they don't just magically appear.
So you have two options. You have a la carte, which is...
A la carte means you're choosing from a set menu, so your options are great, but limited.
Yeah.
Which makes it simple for you and for us. Mm-hmm. And that would be pickup only or extra charge for delivery. Full service is all of that, plus we bring it to the venue, we help set it up, and for those couples that want something that requires on-site installation.
Yeah.
So it's usually the bigger, fancier things that physically would not transport in a vehicle, first of all, and they're designed to just last for the duration of the ceremony.
Yeah.
So we love doing arches and chandeliers for under a tent or indoors. One of my personal favorites, I haven't seen it so much on Pinterest yet, but I love it, and it's a mandala, so it's on the ground, and it's just different colors of blooms in a specific pattern, usually in a circle. Yeah,
that's cool. Yours looks so much better than mine, which it should, because you know what you're doing and I don't.
These are actually really hard to work with. It's not your fault.
Yay! So, with all these installs, obviously these are cut flowers, so at some point they are going to need to be repurposed or composted. So what are some options for brides and grooms that they have at the end of the night?
The first one that's pretty obvious is you could dry some of the flowers.
Yeah.
Some varieties dry well, others don't.
These, what about?
There's not much.
So I was gonna say you would just like hang them.
Yeah.
Like this, but these aren't as dryable Or they won't really
definitely
dry
not
well?
tulips, but roses are a really good example of something that dries well.
Okay.
Everyone's already dabbled with that before.
Yeah.
Second option is that the guests can take the centerpieces home.
Right.
And the vase is included in the arrangement, so you don't have to worry about that.
There you go. All the aunties can take the flowers home at the end of the night.
And then another cool one that we like to do is called reblooming. So that is partnering with local charities, something like a hospice or retirement home or food center. And what happens then is the volunteer staff will break down these arrangements and make them smaller.
Okay.
Like something like a bedside, bedside arrangement. And they live another week to cheer up someone's day.
That's awesome. I like that idea. That's kind of like, you're making a donation towards a really good cause and making somebody else's day just as happy.
So yes, that would be like a tax deductible donation to the charity, and that would cover the labor costs of the volunteers. Picking up the product and then breaking it down and distributing.
That's cool. I really like that idea a lot. This is why you hire a florist, okay? I was like, I'll just watch her and try to do the same thing. And no, I can definitely tell there is for sure a lot of technique to putting these florals together. It's like watching somebody sew. There's just so many different elements and different techniques to be able to create something. And that looks beautiful just as it is. I love it. Good job. The flowers are pretty. Okay, well, thank you for having me, and we're gonna try and make this look better after. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with me. And if you're just in the middle of planning your wedding, or you've just gotten engaged, or you just like hanging out with me, right, congratulations. If you aren't any of those things, you just like hanging out with me, I will see you guys next time, and I hope you guys have a great one. Cheers.